right now, and was able to secure it's some short film, was able to secure like $30,000 just from pounding the phones, I mean, so yeah, I do think that it is crippling for both sides, or at least it's an issue for both sides. But I think when you're talking about raising $50,000 or $100,000 to make the movie you want to make, it's still going to be a whole lot easier than justifying $150 million to make a movie. And that's where the studios have gone crazy, is that they've gotten so inflated with these numbers that in order to turn a profit on a movie, you can't make $100 million is a lot of money. And if you're gonna make $100 million, it used to be that was like the barometer of awesome for the box office. So your movie made $100 million, it was something incredible. And now you can make $100 million and lose $100 million on that movie, which is just, and that's where they've gone off the rails, and eventually it's gonna catch up, I mean, it's just a matter of time, and I really do feel like we have hit that point, where the average cost, I believe that last year, the average cost for a movie in theaters, considering all 700 or 800 movies that were released in American theaters, the average cost was something like $65 million.
Yeah.
Now think about the fact that there are movies that were made for one, or movies that were made for 50. How much are those top movies costing that it pulls in that direction? It's just ridiculous.
I mean, I think it's really, it's super challenging though. It's super challenging even on a smaller scale. That director that we had in last weekend, his movie was less than $500,000, and he hasn't been able to pay himself or pay any of his actors yet because he has, you have to figure out how you can recoup all of the money. I think Kickstarter is a super cool thing. If you guys haven't checked out Kickstarter, it's all about like crowdfunding. And so you basically send your family and friends, you put up a trailer, or you put up your music and you say, I have a $5,000 goal to make my record or to make my short film. Will you pitch in $25? And if people like it, then they'll donate to it. And a lot of people are doing that lately, and that's super sweet. The other thing is, part of the reason that foreign films are a lot more artistically interesting than films in the States, a lot of the time, they are, is because the government actually gives money to artists to live and work, or they give money to the films to fund them because they see the benefit of having these, cultural, these important cultural.
And that's big countries and little countries. We're talking as big as someplace like in England still does it. When something like Slumdog was partially funded, Slumdog Millionaire was partially funded by BBC. And then you go all the way down to places like Denmark and Sweden will have those sorts of things. Yeah.
Everywhere.
Every industrialized country in the world but ours.
Yeah.
How about the music scene?
I mean, it's definitely hurt sales on every level, but I think most independent record labels are used to operating on a pretty tight budget, and we just major labels I think got spoiled for a while and were able to operate on enormous budgets and kind of became accustomed to that, and when that went away, they kind of had the rug pulled out from under them, whereas indie labels never had that luxury and have always had to be pretty lean, and we never had huge staffs or giant marketing budgets that we needed to recoup. So I think it probably overall hasn't hurt indie music as much as it has major label music.
All right. Last question, and I'm going to just kind of rotate it around here. Each of you take a couple minutes on this one. What is on your mind regarding our media when you think of the future of it? Where is it going? I mean, from all your perspectives, and you've got a wide range of perspectives up here, so where is it going at this point? What are we looking at?
Interactive. I think that's the biggest thing that we're going for, is a lot more interaction on all levels. It's called like engagement or something sophisticated when they do that, but I really do feel like that's where it's going across the board. This means using social media more, but it also means like being quicker with your stories in terms of alternative news media and responding directly to people and with people, and I think that's the big future of it, is using and leveraging these new social media things in particular to figure out what it is that people want to hear about, want to talk about, and respond to it in a quicker and more one-on-one fashion. And it means trying out new things as well. God help me, I'm trying a podcast tonight for the Reader movie blog. We're trying it for the first time. I know that's not new. I know podcasts are not new, but we got to try everything, and see what it is that gets people to respond, because eventually you'll find it, and eventually you'll find the right balance of engaging with the people that you're trying to talk about. Because really, at the end of the day, it's not a lecture, it's a Q&A. That's the whole thing. And I think that the way to get people interested in what it is you're talking about is to talk to them about it directly, to actually engage with them on it, and not talk at them.
Yeah, I'll say that the two things that I've noticed, and I think they probably work hand in hand, is I think it's going to be I don't know if you talked about narrowcasting yet at all. So the idea of broadcasting is you're sending one message out to a bunch of people. Narrowcasting is you've got a very specific audience that you're trying to market to. I think that's going to become bigger and bigger. I think that stations, TV stations, newspapers are going to say, well, we know what our audience is because we have all these internet demographics because you give them to them with cookies and everything. So we're going to start tailoring our message to this group. And they're going to rely more and more on that because they can account for that more. And I think also it's going to be like really quick pop culture like blips on the radar, because I don't know how much staying power Rebecca Black has, but I can't imagine it's going to be more than a month. I mean, Charlie Sheen is just, it absolutely baffles me that they spent so much money, or not money, but time on Charlie Sheen covering him in the news. Where is he now? Like, and his show on his off-Broadway show is just tanking, and he's like, he was really funny for a week. And then there's the idea of staying power, I think, is going to shift dramatically.
CJ, Rachel, what do you think?
I think that's true. There's going to be a lot more flash in the pan sort of things. And that's fine. I don't know. I think a lot of the energy that hopefully the music industry will focus on is not investing too much in that and investing in actual artists. And I mean, that's another thing that I think indie labels have an advantage over major labels on, is you're, I think, more invested in your artists when you're operating on the level we are.
I mean, I've spoken a lot about more general stuff, so I'll just speak to art house cinemas in particular, and I'll agree with Ryan on the engagement factor, because we find that we get a lot more people coming out when there's a director or the person that wrote the book or someone who's in the film at a screening, or when we have a discussion in a partnership with a community organization that relates to the film. People love to have that additional component, and that's a really big deal, and I think it's a big deal for art house cinemas throughout the country. I also think the nonprofit model that we have, the diversified income sources, is really essential for both the exhibition side, for both the movie theater side, so that we can show these films, that don't make a ton of money, and kind of prioritize the good stuff. And I think we're going to see more nonprofit movie theaters popping up throughout the country. I already have a lot, even just since we opened. And but I also think on the production side, we're going to need to see a model of more diversified income sources and ways of getting their films out there. And I want to see the directors and the art houses, kind of hand in hand collaborating, so that these studios and these major exhibition chains can't bully us around and own the industry anymore. So those are my hopeful predictions.
Cool. With that said, Rachel has flyers for film streams down here. Make sure you...